In this video, we'll show you how easy it is to define your services in your cluster using MedStack Control. To define your first service, click Control in the top menu, enter your cluster configuration, and then head to the Services tab. First, let's explain some fundamentals. The Secrets tab gives you the ability to create key value pairs that your application may need, particularly for things like database credentials, keys, certificates, and other sensitive pieces of information needed by your platform. Secrets are completely encrypted and are write-only, so this information remains secure. Configs are like secrets without the encryption. Many Docker users use configs for application settings, but you can use them however you want. Finally, you have volumes for data that should be persistent. If you delete or update your service, the data won't be lost with it. You can easily tie a volume directly to a cluster node to ensure your data remains intact. Let's demonstrate all these concepts by building a guestbook application. This application simply provides a form to write a piece of data into a database. First, let's add the load balancer. The load balancer exposes your application to the internet and allows you to specify a domain or a subdomain that you want to map to an individual service, along with the port that it should listen on. MedStack Control automatically handles all of your SSL certificates, so you don't need to worry about purchasing or renewing a certificate. All it takes is one simple click and your load balancer has been created. Next, we'll add a database. MedStack Control supports multiple options for hosting a database. This demo will cover running a database as a single node container. Start by creating a new custom service. Enter your database name and image URL. Docker assumes that when you don't provide a full URL, you're referencing a public image hosted on Docker Hub, as is the case here. MedStack Control provides the flexibility to make use of any environment variables supported by your image. In this case, these variables are documented in detail on Docker Hub, as you can see here. Click Create, and then Save. And you'll see your database being placed into your cluster. And once placed, indication that it's ready to go. The last step is defining the service where your application code resides. Go to Custom Service once again to enter your service details. For stateless services, it is trivial to increase the replica count to provide additional capacity and redundancy for this service. The load balancer is smart enough to know that if one of your replicas is unhealthy, it won't route traffic to it, providing your application with extra resilience. In the domain mapping section, we specify what domain or subdomain should be used to access the service. Of course, you don't need to expose your service to the internet, but in this case we want our service to be publicly accessible. So we will enter a domain here, and this domain has a set DNS entry which maps to the IP address of the cluster, as discussed in the last video. We'll also add the internal port number that the container uses to listen for traffic. MedStack Control will automatically upgrade this transport layer to HTTPS and will automatically provision an SSL certificate for your domain and renew it on an ongoing basis. Containers can communicate with one another via the service name set as the target host name. This communication occurs within a private encrypted network. Developers typically use environment variables to specify this host name, so this info doesn't need to be hard-coded into their application code. We'll do the same here, as well as add another environment variable that will trigger the auto creation of a new database for use by this application the first time it is run. This particular service doesn't require any other configuration, but you can see that there are additional sections to configure any secrets, configs, volume mounts, or placement constraints as needed. In just a minute, this service will be up and running. Here you can see the two replicas, and once placed into the cluster, check marks will show that they are healthy. Go to the domain we mapped to the service before, and presto, you have a service or application that the public can access. Tune in to our next video called Monitoring, Access Logs, and Database Maintenance. Until then, visit medstack.co, subscribe to our newsletter, and follow us on social. Thanks for watching.